The one thing that he loves more than anything in the world is family. We have a big family, and he always enjoyed that. He loved every one of his cousins. He also loved his family in the SEAL teams, and they were his brothers. After everything happened with Charlie, we had a call from Michael Murphy's mother, who told us to wait a year before we did anything.
So we got together and we thought about what was missing in the teams, and it was kind of that family dynamic. Our relationship together was built on outdoor activities. The outdoors just brought this calmness to him that we hope will help the other guys as well.
Brooke and I are always looking at each other after we meet different people, and we're like, how do we, I think the one thing that we're always amazed by is the people that we meet. These incredible people that just keep moving this thing forward. All these weird things happen constantly. It's like meeting E-Rigging, the bizarre circumstances surrounding that. We're building these big decks and we're putting these big tents on them. We needed some turnbuckles for some bracing under the decks. And my brother-in-law was on the internet and he found this place called E-Rigging and ordered the turnbuckles.
So on a Sunday night, I couldn't sleep. It was like 2 a.m. or something like that. And I was bored. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go watch YouTube, see if I can get tired. And the first video that pops up is the life story of Charlie Keating IV. I watched the video and immediately afterwards, I was like, I gotta get involved in some way or another. So I wanted to support the foundation. So I go to sleep, and on Tuesday I get to work. I've got this email from this guy, and it's like, hey, y'all sent me 150 order confirmation emails.
I had at least 200 emails from E-Rigging. My phone's going ding, 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 and I'm a little bit perturbed about it.
He seemed pissed. Oh gosh, this isn't good. I would imagine he's getting all these order confirmations for like $1,000 order, and he's probably thinking he's getting charged.
Are they charging me 200 times? I decide I'm going to send an email to E-Rigging and say, hey, what's up here?
So I scroll to the bottom of the email, and sure enough, the bottom of the email, it's Charlie Keating III, president of the C4 Foundation. I just watched Mr. Charlie, watched him on camera and learned about his son, and now he's emailing me. We talked to IT, and I'm like, hey, who all did we accidentally send this email to? And they're like, just one person, Charlie Keating III. And I was like, that's freaking wild. Well, how can we get, Haas stainless cable railing and E-Rigging.com involved with a C4 Foundation? We're gonna have a meeting about it later on that day. Well, in the meantime, I'm just gonna call Mr. Charlie.
He calls me Mr. Charlie, and he says, Mr. Charlie, we had a glitch in our server. It's never happened before. I don't know why you got 200 emails from us. We're trying to figure it out. Nobody understands why it happened. You're only going to get charged once, but I got to ask you something. Are you Mr. Charlie with C4 Foundation? I'm like, yeah. And he says, well, this is really weird, but 2 nights ago, I couldn't sleep, and I saw the video about your son, Charlie. I just can't believe it. I just love the video, and I love, really admire your son and what he did.
This is fate. Something's gonna come from this.
This isn't the first time something like this has happened.
We talked for a bit, tells me they need cable railing on the deck. And I'm like, well, that's exactly what we do. Instead of us making a one-time donation, or why don't we just donate all of the cable railing to the C4 Ranch? So I called Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie, can we install this cable railing for you? We'll do it all for free. We want to donate this to support the foundation. And he just is on board 100%. There's a lot of pressure because we want to make sure that we do the best job that we can possibly do. Got to make sure that we don't forget anything. Everything's ready to roll out, and so tomorrow we are heading to the C4 Ranch.
drive up the road and you go through the tunnel of kind of overgrowth and trees, and then you cross the threshold into the ranch and you drive through the gate. There's something very special about the place. We are galvanizing family relationships within the SEAL community. With all the stuff that's been happening in this country and the world, you really have to be able to rely on your family. I was a SEAL. I spent about 10 and a half years in the SEAL teams. Served with C4 on one rotation. So we worked up and deployed in 2010 at SEAL Team 3. We don't get a chance to know each other's families until something terrible happens in the community, and it's a terrible reality that we face.
Our focus is to take high-performing individuals and people and give them, some tools to, communicate better, help with the mindfulness and the gratitude, and use their talents to their highest level.
For me, it's all about connection. So it's something that I lost kind of for a long time after I left the SEAL community, and I found it because of this place. Families are struggling, and the goal here was to head that problem off at the pass.
I think it's personally incredibly therapeutic. I just get a smile up here every time, and I'm just so proud that we've been a part of something that gives back to the families, gives nature back to them, and time for families to be together. I am not an interview kind of gal.
There's so many great animals. I love Hachi the dog. I love Martha the buffalo, Tabasco the bull, Eeyore the donkey, Monty the donkey.
I think the mini donkeys, they're tough little bastards.
My favorite animal is Monty. He's our miniature donkey. He protects the goats. I love him.
There's a lot of other great organizations out there that are bringing veterans and active duty, out to nature-based environments. It's an endeavor to do that most of the time because, you're taking a guy plane trip and a 2-3 hour car ride away from their day-to-day, and that's tough to do. Whereas here, we literally can serve the community the way this community needs to be served because we're only an hour and 20 minutes from, where the SEAL teams are training in Coronado. People's dollars go to work. If people donate money, you actually can see the impact that the money has. It doesn't go to a program that we spend money on and then it goes away. This becomes an enduring asset for the SEAL community. So they're beautiful safari tents. So that's going to give us the capability to bring an entire SEAL platoon up here with their families 3 times during their cycle, before, during, and after. So that's like 16 plus tents that you all are helping us make amazing.
The decks themselves are pretty awesome. They're all built up. They're very simplistic in designs.
They're beautiful tents, and the decks are beautiful when they're kind of up in the trees, and there's kind of a sex appeal to them. our goal is to directly help these families whose husbands are at the tip of the spear. And everybody asks me, these people are so rough and tough and everything. So no, they're lovers. They do what they do because they love America and they love the people that they go out and defend. It's like my son Charlie. He loved the people. Wherever he was. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to believe in the cause. And nobody believes in a cause any more than the guy that goes out and lays his life down for that cause. We have these guest books that the families write in, and I love reading the stories in the guest book. I mean, that is my number one favorite thing. And family comes home from deployment and, the kids just love spending some time with their dad and reconnecting and going through that process and all the animals and, hanging out and just being at peace for a few days. Those are great stories.
So be here as the night starts falling. Let my fingers walk over your head.
You get to know a lot of these guys and their families. You have a whole different perspective on things. What the C4 Foundation does is support the people that protect our country. I couldn't think of anything better for us to get involved with, to be able to support this foundation and support the guys and their families that go out and do that job that not many people are willing to do at all is a very special thing. I'm Tyler with E-Rigging.com, and we support the C4 Foundation.
When I was young, I thought control